guys, it's Rachel. It is Thankful Thursday, and I'm here this week, and we're going to look at a topic that Ariel suggested again, and she's basically said how about looking at the topic of the difficulty in taking one's own advice. I know so many people who are great at giving advice but can't seem to put it into practice for themselves. If you feel you're one of these people, you could talk about that, or you could give examples of how to put your words into actions, or I could just kind of discuss all of that really, and why it's kind of such a dilemma. The first kind of thoughts that came into my head about this really concerned some of my close friends, and I got to thinking about what kind of goes on with regards to supporting one another. And I think that when we looked at people pleasing the other week, I think it is important that we do things for other people. A lot of us with eating disorder issues and depression and what have you do tend to overexert themselves in helping others, but what I think can be incredibly beneficial in supporting other people is this idea around when we're kind of talking to a friend about something that we're actually kind of saying the words ourselves, and I know for myself, I know I'm not alone in this. I'll sort of say, you deserve more than that, this is going to pass, that's happened, it doesn't mean it has to happen again, it's okay for you to eat that, you're going to feel bad for a little while, but you're not always going to feel that way. It's okay to let your body gain weight, it doesn't mean you're going to become obese. And all of this kind of advice and support that we give, I think that on some level, unless we're incredibly disconnected from ourselves, it does kind of feed into kind of where we've been. And I think that what is incredibly beneficial is for a group of people who are struggling to struggle together. And this has been evident on kind of a support forum I was a member of a long time ago, concerning self-harm and eating disorders. And I'm talking kind of 2001 here, and we were all, really struggling, and we were giving each other advice, and I think on some level, on quite a big level actually, that seemed to, it kind of seemed to reinforce how we should treat ourselves as well. And I do think it's very, very difficult to take your own advice. However, I think that when you are able to have a close relationship with a friend or what have you, that almost naturally we do listen to kind of what we are saying. And I know many times that a friend would say, God, I feel so hypocritical saying this to you because I'm telling you you need to eat your 3 meals a day and I'm really struggling with my food. And yet it never felt that way, and we're all going to struggle in different ways at different times. And when I give advice now, and I kind of hear myself saying some of that out loud, I do take time. If I've spent, say, for example, a long time on the phone to a friend or my girlfriend or what have you, and I've kind of been talking and offering support and advice, what I tend to do now is not just kind of blow that off, is I tend to kind of get off the phone and I sort of sit down and I kind of think, right, okay, what have you just been saying here? How can that support you? How can that put into practice? And I think that by giving people advice, we sometimes feel almost that we're accountable, because if we're giving our friends advice and saying that they deserve to live and love and laugh and be healthy and be well, and they deserve to be in a good relationship and for people to treat them well and not take the piss out of them, in doing all of that, we have to allow ourselves to reflect on how we are. So rather than being in denial and thinking, I'm not like that, to actually sit down and think, okay, what is it that I'm saying? I write an awful lot, and I reflect on things in my writing. Some people draw, some people talk more, people go to therapy. There's a million different ways. But what I think is important is that we do take ourselves seriously as well, and that through recovery that we learn to respect ourselves. And I think if we can learn to respect ourselves, we actually start to respect the opinion that we have and the advice that we're giving to other people, and in giving that advice to other people and respecting where we're coming from, we can take that on board ourselves. And you know, I certainly feel that it is a difficult thing to do, to take one's own advice, and I think it's very easy to almost deny your own difficulties or your own struggles, or accept that what you're saying to another and accept it for yourself. However, it doesn't mean that that's impossible to do. And I guess my advice is the ways that I manage this is by reflecting on the people who I talk to, and is reflecting and taking some time every day. I'm not in therapy currently, but to take some time every day and think about my day, think about how I've dealt with situations and ways in which I still feel I want to change, things I feel I need to shift. Have I dealt with this situation in a way that's been healthy for me? What advice would I give to a friend? And I think sometimes thinking outside of yourself and thinking, right, what would I say? Right, this is my best friend, I love her to pieces, right, and if she was in this situation, what would I say to her? And I do this with self-harming, and maybe I shouldn't do this, but I do quite often say, imagine yourself as a young girl, okay, and the experiences that you've been through, and imagine what you would say to her if she came to you. And you wouldn't want her to hurt herself, you wouldn't want her to damage herself further with what she's been through. You would want her to nurture herself and to care for herself, and you would want to nurture her. And I think sometimes remembering our inner child is a good way of being able to take our own advice, because it takes us away from us completely. It puts us on an outside perspective, but we're looking at ourselves through a different angle, really, and we're comforting the part of ourselves that, you know, for me, when I was raped, you know, I was 17, 18, I think, how would I want to talk to that young girl? How would I want to bring this up? What advice would I wish to give her? And in doing that, I've been a lot gentler on myself. And as you gain strength in recovery, your voice does become louder, and you do get to fight the eating disorder. And I think that as you fight that and you gain strength, you actually start to love yourself and nurture yourself. I now know that I deserve good things, and I can say that with conviction, because I do deserve good things. I'm a good person, I do things for the people, and I deserve for people to treat me with respect and with dignity and with kindness. And that is only something that comes with recovery. It doesn't happen whilst you're in the throes of your eating disorder, it only comes with recovery. So that's kind of my feel on all of that. I'm going to have to let this go, guys, because the time is getting on. But that was kind of my thoughts on it, and I don't know whether you can identify with some of what I've said, but I hope that some of it's been useful. And I will see you guys next week, so take care, God bless, okay, bye.